Hello and welcome to That NextGen Planners Podcast. My name's Taylor, I'm a financial planner and I'm joined here today with Amelia Hamilton, Head of Community.
Hello.
And my lovely co-host, Clara.
Hello.
And we are talking today about awards and do awards matter, and we're joined with the lovely Sarah Elson from Berry and Oak.
Hello.
So I'm going to kick off, Sarah, and ask you, do awards matter? So what I'm asking here really is, why do you apply for awards in your firm specifically? So what's important about them to you?
A couple of things, really. I think as a firm, we learn a lot from going through the award entry process. Mm-hmm. So we treat it as a bit like an audit on our business. So as we're going through an application for an award, as we're working through the questions, we're always answering the award with what we're doing now, but then looking at it and thinking, actually, how could we take this point and develop it?
Love that.
And make
That's
the
good.
business better.
Yeah.
So we use it as a great way to benchmark where we are, how we can improve and grow as a business, because the things that the judges are looking for are really what they believe is a good business. So if we can take those points and help make our business better, we will do.
Amazing.
And I think the other thing for us was when we set up Berry and Oak, our business plan was to win an award to get some recognition from it. So for us, it was about getting the name of the business out there, getting us known and getting that credibility.
Well, you've done that already.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So talk to us about, you won a lot of awards. So which is your favourite? Which one would you say has meant the most to you?
Probably for different reasons, really. We've been very, very fortunate that we have been lucky enough to win a number of awards. I don't call it the favourite. We call it the Top Gun Award, which we've very fortunately won it twice now, which is the CISI Accredited Firm of the Year Award. My husband, Andrew, loves Top Gun, hence why the Top Gun Award came in. And the motto from Top Gun Fighter School is it's the best of the best. And we saw the Accredited Firm Award as being the best of the best. The accredited firms are the firms that have been accredited as doing the best financial planning in the UK. So to win that award amongst the firms that are accredited was kind of blew us away, really. So when we won that, I think that's probably the most memorable one for us for that reason, really.
Yeah. And do you say the process is more rigorous for that award?
There's more steps involved in it. I think there's other awards that are similar, but that particular award, you do your entry, and you've got to invest the time and go through quite a long entry. And if you're fortunate enough to get shortlisted, then you have an interview with a panel where they go through your application and ask you questions about your firm as well. So not only is it a paper sort of entry, it's then an interview. But again, I suppose it's nerve-wracking, but it's just being yourself and just talking about what you've answered and what you do as a firm, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so the title of this episode is Do Awards Matter? And there's so many different ways that we could look at this and analyse this. But I want to first kind of focus on how it has mattered to you specifically. So as has been mentioned, you've done very well as a business of Berry and Oak. Well, what do you think has changed, or has anything changed from winning these awards? Have you have clients kind of come to you and said, oh, I've seen it because you've won this? You know, is it been that you've felt more respected or legitimised in an industry? What kind of impact has it had to you guys personally?
Yeah, probably most of those things that you've said. I'll go through them. But yeah, we've had a number of clients come to us who have actually Googled award-winning advisors. So from a marketing point of view, we've been able to attract some clients. And I think Phil Bray talks about this, but it's your social proof. There's your reviews and things that say you're good, but actually someone giving you an award that says you are good at doing this is that, I suppose, social proof that you are good at what you do. So we have had clients from it. Whenever we have won an award, we go quite big on marketing it. So we put it on our social media. We always send an email out to our clients to tell them specifically just about that award. And it's great, the feedback we actually get from the clients as well. So the clients will often reply to that to say, congratulations, we've loved working with you on your journey. We know a lot of our clients have been with us an awful long time. We've seen the business grow and develop. So that feedback is great to get, both for me and Andrew as the business owners, but also for the team, because it's a great boost for the team. We always go back whenever we win an award and have a night out to celebrate as a team. And I suppose while I'm on team, the awards do help us attract staff.
Of course, yeah.
From a recruitment point of view, I think people are proud to say that they work for an award-winning firm. or when people are looking for roles, the fact that we have won awards does hopefully make us, more appealing than maybe a firm that hasn't.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it's lovely, isn't it, how you're saying, we think about awards and we think, oh, you've won an award, that's great. But what you're saying is it's embedded in every part of your business. So it's marketing, it's operations, it's recruitment, it's culture, it's compliance. It's all of those things are part of that process of applying for an award and winning the award. I guess the question I've got for you is other business owners, other financial planners that haven't yet won an award and want to win an award, what are your top tips for getting them from where they are now to winning an award? Are there certain things that you'd recommend that they do to get themselves in the best position? What are your thoughts?
I'd say just go for it. We entered awards for a number of years and got shortlisted, and we were that joke, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I think you've got to not give up.
Yeah.
And use the entry process, I think, like I said earlier, as a chance to learn. You'll see yourself where you've got gaps. If there's a question about something and you think, I can't answer this, we don't do that, then you've clearly got a gap in your business. And then you've got to ask yourself, actually, is it don't just do it because you might win an award from it, but if it's something you think will help your business grow and develop at the same time, then look to kind of embed that into
what you're doing,
your business culture. But I think go for it. A lot of people think, I'm not going to win an award, but you don't know if you don't try.
You don't know, do you? Yeah. That's it.
No, and I think it's a good point actually to look at it as, these are things that people are measuring quote unquote success by. Where do I fit into that? And as you mentioned, there's perhaps some areas that you might not have thought of beforehand. Is there any one in particular that springs to mind that's come up on an application that you've thought, actually, we haven't put enough focus on that, or we don't have enough to write here? Is there something that you've felt that's then been really useful for you?
I think at the moment, I think an example just recently, one of the award entries we'd done was B Corp on there, and it was is your firm B Corp accredited, and we're not at the moment. And we actually looked and thought, well, what is B Corp? Should we go down that route? Is it something that we can achieve? And when I looked into it, I'd love to be B Corp, but we just haven't got the capacity or the time to do that.
It's a lot, isn't it?
And we're in serviced officers. So
have you looked at
a lot of things to do.
I've looked at it, and it's just, there's a lot to do.
A lot of time. I'd love to get to that point, but at the moment we've got other areas of the business that we're working on that are part of our business plan. So that's one of those times where I've looked and thought, having B Corp might give us a better chance to win an award, but actually it's not right for us and for our business at the moment.
So what you're saying is not every award can, you can't win every award, can you? But you can try your hardest to apply for an award and fill in the bits that you can do and learn from the bits you can't do. But you're saying some of the things that you can't do you don't always have to take them on and do it.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying, essentially.
Yeah, you've got to think about your business and what you're trying to achieve and what your business plan, your 5-year strategy is. And if that's going to take you, completely down the wrong road, don't do it.
Yeah, so Ovation, actually, we've submitted our certification. Well, our application is in. Yeah, so we're waiting. Still got a few months till we hear anything about that. But it has been a really eye-opening thing to explore. It's just like going through awards. The questions that you get asked make you really think about things in your business and how you can change them. And I've been speaking to a lot of people in the B Corp community lately, and those who are called Be Curious.
So, I haven't heard that term before.
Yeah. And they've been talking about, especially smaller companies, where they say, we don't have the resource, we don't have the time, we need to focus on our growth at the moment. But it doesn't stop you from taking on the values and just thinking about it, and then maybe in the future pursuing something like that.
Awards, generally, some people see them positively, some negatively, because some people believe that the system for giving out awards might not be entirely fair in some scenarios. So tell me, are there any potentially examples you've seen where you didn't like the way that the awards were judged or rated? Or you could tell me, if you were judging an awards ceremony or whatever, what you would like to do and to implement to make sure that it is the really fair winners.
Yeah, I've never seen anything untoward with any of the awards we've entered, and there is a lot, isn't there, on social media that people say you only win an award if you buy a table.
Yeah.
I've judged a number of awards over the last 5 years, and at the point that I've been judging, at that point, I never know who has bought a table, who is going to the awards.
Which is great. That's good to know,
so
really.
They're completely independent. And the awards that I've judged, there's been a number of people judging the same category, and we've all gone off and judged the entries independently against the criteria. Those scores are then submitted independently. So I don't even know who else at that point is judging the category with me.
Sure.
I just know which entries I'm judging and what I'm marking them against. Once all those entries have been submitted, we then get on a call as a group and discuss the entries. And the scores that we've given, sometimes there's an outright winner because everybody's rated that as being, and it's then that's
well, then that's fair. You know, if you've all come to that, that's really interesting to see the other side of the table. I hadn't quite realised you'd also done that part as well in terms of judging and grading. So that's really reassuring, and it makes me think that it's very fair.
Yeah, and the times there's been where we've had two people on the same score, we've then really, as a group, looked at both applications, looked at the criteria, and sometimes it's been a heated debate, and it's like which one is actually the best, and that's where you'll often see the highly commendeds come in because it has been that close.
Yeah.
But it's done completely fairly. And there was one time I was actually judging some awards, and one of the judges on the panel said, I'm going to step out from this one and not submit my scores because I know one of the entrants personally. Okay. So I think as a judge, I'm also conscious of being as fair as I can be and not putting any bias on it. And everybody I've ever come across that's judged awards has been the same. We're all there because we're, I suppose, quite honoured. I mean, the first time I was asked to judge awards, it was quite an honour that they think I'm worthy and that my opinion counts. So I think you take that responsibility very seriously and want to kind of do the best by it. So I've never, ever seen anybody that's been biased and awarded it just because that firm's bought a table.
Yeah. I think this is a really, really interesting part of the discussion, actually, and thinking about what that room looks like, and obviously you going into it not being biased and everybody trying not to be biased. I guess there is an element in this as well of unconscious bias. That is something that, we don't think that we're thinking in a certain way, but you might inadvertently be influenced by something. In that room of people who's judging awards, do you look round and think that it's usually a fair kind of spread across the industry? Do you think that there needs to be different people in the room that they're not at the moment? Or would you say actually on reflection, it's a pretty good system?
The ones I've been part of, and I'm sure there is others that work differently, there's different people. So I'm usually there representing advisors.
Yeah.
There's usually somebody there from a provider. There's usually somebody there from a professional body. So they've often got a good mix of people from different parts of the profession that'll see it from a different point of view as well. So I think they are very conscious. And I know the last two awards I've judged, they've asked afterwards, from a judge's point of view, do you think we could have done anything differently? So I think the companies that run the awards are trying to be as fair as they can be and trying to constantly improve how they do things as well.
Well, I think it answers quite a lot of questions that people have, at least that I've had discussions with. You go to an event and there will inevitably be some people who have some strong opinions about how these awards are decided and why they've been decided. But it seems like it's a fairly...
Yeah, I mean, it's really reassuring. I mean, what's it like, Clara, just coming over to you, Ovation, so... Is the culture? It's a really good culture, right? We spoke about this before the podcast. What is the culture around awards for you?
It's a difficult one because I've only been with Ovation for a year now, so I've only seen things around sort of money marketing and there's obviously the Women in Advice Awards that are going on at the moment, and obviously to win an award, it's very flattering at all, but I'm aware that we don't go in for an awful lot of them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've had discussions with people outside of work where they've felt a little bit like there's not all that much point in them doing it, again, because they don't I guess they don't understand what's going on in the backgrounds. And it's great that you've just sort of gone into some more detail on that. And some of the things that have come up with friends in the industry that I've spoken to are sort of concerns about how do you know that the person that you're looking at the application of is actually a good egg, and that everything they're saying in their application that they actually really mean and they really do? Because a lot of people are very, very good at marketing, are very, very good at kind of putting out what they want to be seen, but not actually kind of following through on that. And often there are winners in any award category, across all the awards in the industry, where somebody may have an idea about that person or that company and how they see them, and it doesn't add up to them. So they kind of feel a bit maybe disheartened at the idea of applying to something they feel that they won't basically get a look in.
Yeah.
What would you have to comment on that?
I've never seen anything where I've thought that person's not kind of legit or genuine. And then it's hard to know, isn't it? Because I guess as a profession, we all should be fit and proper and only putting in. I'm always probably the opposite way with ours. I've always got my compliance head on. So if I submit an award that requires me to put figures in, I'll often do a snapshot of where I've got the figure from and keep it in my award entry file. Because I thought if anybody ever did come back and say, you've won that award, were the figures you gave in there correct? I'm like, well, yes, they were.
Yeah, you come and see me, I'll show you.
But that's just me because I do quite a bit of the compliance role as well. I'm always thinking of the worst case scenario, and a bit like a suitability report, and you give advice to a client. I'm always like, what have I got that's made my award entry robust? If anybody ever did want to challenge me on what I'd put in, I keep my evidence just to back it up. And I suppose in my head, I think everybody else does the same, but I'm sure there is some people out there that...
I'm sure they're not as organised as you. They don't have it all on file, but that's great. Is there any award that you haven't yet won that you want to win?
We actually haven't entered that many.
No? So there's lots. There's loads of potential.
We've never won the Chartered Firm of the Year award.
So that would be
something to aspire to at some point in the future.
Nice.
Perfect. Well, I think at that point we are going to take a little short break now, and we will be back with you in just a moment. Hello, this is your interval for That NextGen Planners Podcast. I hope you are enjoying the conversation we are having at the moment. If you do want to find out any more information about our brilliant community, you can head over to www.nextgenplanners.co.uk to find out loads more information about all the things that we have going on. Also, if you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can do that on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, for now, I'll hand back over to the guys to get on with the rest of the show.
Welcome back. In the intermission, we were talking about single gender awards. So I'm just going to throw it back over to Sarah and Amelia and ask, what are our thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, when we say single gender awards, I think we're referring to the women ones, because as far as I'm aware, there's no men awards just yet.
Do you imagine if there were?
I know, that would be an interesting...
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Well, we've got ours.
Yeah.
Taylor, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think my thoughts are, rightly or wrongly, the women only awards are there for a valid reason because of historically what's happened with gender biases and things. Is there a need for them forever? I don't know. I'd like to see that it wasn't a thing in the future, and actually women were winning awards in regular award ceremonies in an equal weighting. But what do you think?
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think they came about, didn't they? Because when I was first an advisor, I'd be in a conference and there'd be 5 women in the room.
Yeah.
And that has changed massively. If you go on a conference now, there's a lot more women and a lot more younger people as well. And it'd be interesting to see some stats from some of the award ceremonies, actually how many women as opposed to men are winning the Advisor of the Year categories or the Paraplanner of the Year. I think people would be surprised. It's probably a relatively fair split.
Yeah.
And you're probably right. Is there a need for them? I think having judged those awards, there's a lot of women doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And I'm not saying that men aren't at all. But I find it quite emotional judging those awards. There's a lot of women being through an awful lot in their lives and that are, giving up time as well as having a career, doing exams, raising kids and everything else, giving time to go out and help in the communities, work with charities. And I think it's a great way to highlight the work that's being done. But I think it would be nice if men had the same opportunity, because I'm sure men do the same thing. Men are raising families and juggling multiple things. So whether or not there's a way to do a men-only award, I'm sure there'll be some uproar, won't there? But why not? Why should women have the women-only award and not men, I suppose?
Well, and also, if you're winning an award, wouldn't it be nice to just be the best at that category, not just be, I'm the best woman at that category, but
But I do think it is, as you were saying before, in an industry that is very traditionally skewed towards men, it is nice to be able to make sure you're creating these figures and role models for people to look towards coming into the industry, and that's more clearly signposted perhaps of these are women who you can see what they've done and how they've managed it, and if you can see that, then there's hope that more women will keep coming into the industry. And I mean, especially at NextGen Planners, it feels like that's definitely changing in the demographic of people that we've got in the community. So I don't know whether I would say let's have just one award just yet, because I don't think it is quite fair. I would say I think it should be slightly changed how they are set up. And as we were just discussing about, everybody gets nominated, and that feels patronizing. That feels everybody gets a participation trophy rather than actually, these are some really incredible people, and some more so than others. And let's acknowledge that, is my opinion. I don't know if...
being nominated on your own merit rather than being nominated because you're the only woman in the company or something like that. Because a lot of these, you do have to be nominated or submit yourself to be in the runnings for it. So a lot of people might feel that actually the only reason they're on there in the first place is because their company want to use it as marketing. And, look at our female advisor who's on this list. And it's a very, very long list. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder sometimes as well, though, are women maybe sometimes a little bit shyer at coming forwards, and maybe there's people out there who wouldn't necessarily think I'm going to enter this award, but actually if their boss nominates them and that's as far as it goes, the fact that your boss has thought you're good enough for me to say you are the best administrator of the year, for example, is that in itself a compliment to them? And that, even if it goes no further than that, I'd be quite flattered that my boss had thought enough of me to actually nominate me for an award. I suppose it's then up to them whether they feel confident enough to then take it to the next stage and actually put their application in. And it'd be nice to see some stats actually from was it 700 and odd people this year that got for the Women in Finance Awards nominations? How many of those people have actually applied? And for the ones that didn't, it'd be interesting to see why they didn't apply and what stopped them, because I didn't touch on this earlier, but when you win an award, it's not necessarily because you are the best firm in the country, it's you've entered the award. There's a lot of people out there and a lot of great firms that don't enter awards, and a lot of people that don't take the time to do that. So is there a lot of people that just don't fully understand the process that
we're missing, like really good people that just aren't getting to that point? And I think based on what you said earlier, the interesting thing for me is, should the onus be on the awards ceremony firms to ensure that they're recruiting, maybe not the best word, but getting in nominations from a really broad range of genders, a diverse background, to make the awards more diversified in terms of who we've got? I mean, it's slightly difficult if it's an awards that you've got to nominate yourself or put an application in yourself, but I wonder if you think that these award ceremonies are doing enough in terms of the marketing of the awards or reaching out to the industry. What do you think? Could they do anything better there?
I think they're constantly trying. We've been part of the Yorkshire Awards over the last few years, and after the awards this year, we all got a questionnaire just asking us, was there any other awards that we think that they should introduce, that they should look to develop? Is there anything they could do to change the application process? So I think the award companies are always wanting feedback. I guess getting people to enter. I know once you've started your entry and you're on their system, because I had one last week, you keep getting reminders, the deadline's coming, make sure you enter your award. But it's maybe those people that are under the net that have been nominated and have not realised they've got to get their entry in, or don't know where to start, really.
Yeah.
And do we think the issue, this is an open question, I guess, do we think that it would be better to take the Women in Finance Award as an example? Are we saying the issue is that it's standalone? Or, if that awards was in with another awards and there was a section that is about women in finance, does that make it better?
I don't know. I think I quite like the idea that there's a night to kind of recognise women in finance. I do like that as an idea because it is still slowly changing and shifting the perception of who finance is for. Yeah. And I like that there is a night to really shine a spotlight on that and have conversations about that, and hopefully in a room where people feel like they're part of a community as well, which quite often I think it can be quite siloized, and you're off on your own here, off on your own there, and suddenly you're like, oh no, there's loads of us and there's loads of people wanting the same thing and working together, and the tide is turning and it's really positive. So I do like it, but I think ultimately it would be great if you go, well, why is that still around? They're everywhere. It's just an equal split. You think of perhaps some other industries that you don't necessarily feel the need to have women in veterinary science. It's just why would we mention that? It's a kind of a non-point. But I think it's just a whole different. There's loads of moving parts, isn't there, about wanting to encourage people to get involved in this stuff. I think it's great to have people to look up to. As Sarah was saying earlier, you Google it and these are the things that come up on the Google searches, and in a new generation, new people coming through, those are the things that are going to be in the search engine. But I don't know, what about you, Clara?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned that it was about the showing people that there are women in finance.
Yeah.
And I mean, awards, whether or not people agree with this or not, sometimes awards, from a consumer's point of view and from a client potential prospect's point of view, they will use that to say, well, you're an award-winning firm. And some people may believe that it can be misleading if, one firm's got a load of awards and one's never even gone in for any and therefore doesn't have it. It doesn't make that firm any less good at what they're doing for their clients. In fact, they may not have submitted awards because they're spending too much time on their clients. But it's about the perception that gives to people who are not in our industry. And as you said, getting women into the industry and recognizing that actually it is a workplace for them and that they're welcome here. Maybe having the Women in Finance Awards is useful in the sense that you've got role models, you've got women that people can look up to who want to join the industry. And maybe that's the future of that section of awards. It's the role models of women within financial planning. So they are there, they are helping people enter and helping us diversify.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, zooming back out and looking to the question that we're analysing today, do awards matter? It seems it's yes and no. They really do have an impact and clearly have helped you push further as a business and gain new clients, new talent. But ultimately, had that not have happened, you'd still be in a good position. Yeah. And there's plenty of other firms who might not have had the same successes, who are still running successful companies today. Yeah. So I am going to ask the question that I think a lot of people are going to be thinking right now. How do they do it? And we're not going to ask you to share all of your trade secrets, of course, but you've got a track record of success. What are some of the main things that you think you've done well that have made that happen?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is allow plenty of time. If you're going to enter an award, I think you need to invest the time and make sure you do a good entry. There's no point scrabbling something together at the last minute and submitting it because it'll probably show. So I think allow plenty of time and have a couple of drafts of it, write it, sleep on it, read it again. The first thing we do is have a look at the questions on the award, and then we'll ask the team as well, because although ultimately it's myself and Andrew that have got a bit of a process that we go through to submit the award, there might be things we've forgotten we've done as a business in the last 12 months, and sometimes the team have got some very valid points. So we'll include them first of all as a bit of a brainstorming session, and then we'll take their ideas down and then get on with the entry, really. Yeah. I won't tell you too much about it.
No, of course, yes. Keep the secrets.
Andrew and I have got very sort of like complementary skills and work very well together. I'll take the award entry and I'll basically write it. And I'll usually double the word count. So if it's 1,000 words you need, I'll probably be 1,500 words. I'll then hand it over to Andrew, who's got quite a unique skill at editing and really reading the question. I suppose that's another key point. Read the question and answer actually what the question's asking you, not what you want to tell the judges about your business. But Andrew will go through it and make sure he's highlighted the kind of the key points and get it within the word count. It'll then come back to me and I'll have another read and just check there's nothing that I thought I still wanted in there. And we'll sort of like bat it between ourselves a little bit and then kind of submit it from there. So my key tips is I think it needs to be more than one person. Read the question and allow plenty of time to go through that check it, read it, check your grammar, check your spelling. I've seen when I've been judging people that have sent in supplementary attachments to support the awards, but they've been dated from last year's. They've not updated them from last time they entered the awards. So maybe a little bit of attention to detail as well, and just double check before you submit it.
Yeah.
Fab. And we're swiftly running out of time. I could talk all day to you, but a quick question. So the awards for Bury and Oak, obviously you said Andrew and yourself, you apply. Do you encourage the staff to apply for awards for themselves, and have they had success as well?
Yeah, we have done. We've had a number of staff enter in the past, not actually won anything individually.
Yeah.
However, we have won as a team a number of times actually, and that's been if anything, that's a really amazing we won the Yorkshire Team of the Year.
Because you all win, don't you?
We all win, and the whole team gets to go on stage. We all get to get dressed up in black tie.
Nice.
When we win, we all get to go up on stage and celebrate, and it's a fantastic night. And that's kind of celebrating the team. And I think for any award, even if you're fortunate to win an individual award like Financial Planner of the Year, you couldn't win that award without the team.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't be here today doing this if I didn't have a fantastic team behind me in the office, looking after the clients, answering the phone, doing everything that they do. So I think for any award, if anything, it'd be nice to see more awards that celebrate team as well.
It's a real team effort.
It's like everything, isn't it? Like Taylor Swift's on tour at the minute, and everybody's celebrating Taylor Swiftie, but she could not do the show that she puts on without all the backing singers, the lighting support. And I think maybe for future awards, there should be ways maybe to include more of the people that are behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Having maybe somebody come in and really talk to those teams, because you're going to boots on the ground, you're going to learn so much more about that business, and whether or not what you're seeing is actually playing out in practice as well.
Yeah, and I think it depends. We're very much, everything's done as a team at Bury and Oak. It's always all about the team, which is why we get the team's input on them. So to have awards where we can enter as a team and it not just be about who's the best financial planner, actually we're the best team that comes together and works as a team and helps each other, to me is like the best award to win, because it just shows.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll chat again soon, and thank you for everyone's input.
Thank you.
I think that concludes our podcast for today. So thank you.
Thanks.